Good morning, everybody. This is Brian Gleis from the Scott Insurance Agency. This morning, I want to talk about life insurance, and I want to keep it as simple as possible because a lot of people, for some reason, are scared of the conversation or nervous about the conversation. They think it's going to be a deep, dark one, and it certainly doesn't have to be. So let's dive into it. So there's multiple types of life insurance, and what I have on the screen are just a few of the most common. Starting from left to right, we've got term, universal, variable, and whole life. And then I have a side-by-side comparison of them. An example would be on the spectrum left to right. Term is typically the least expensive. Whole life is typically one of the most expensive. On a term policy, you pick a term. A term is another way of saying a time limit. It insures you for a specific amount of time, whether that be 10, 20, or 30 years. And then the coverage ends when the specified amount of time is reached or when you stop paying the premium. So a 10-year term is only going to last for 10 years. The reason why someone would buy a 10-year term is if they just bought a vehicle and they wanted to, what we used to call credit life on that. They wanted to make sure that if something happened to them while the vehicle still had payments, it would be paid off. But that's really the only reason why you would go with a 10-year term, in my opinion. A 10-year term is less expensive than a 20-year term, which is less expensive than a 30-year term. But you want to try to lock in the longest term rate that you can so that you can lock in that price. That's the most important thing. If we move over to the universal life is a term policy that really wants to pretend like it's a whole life policy. It is less expensive than traditional whole life, but it doesn't have as many bells and whistles as the traditional whole life does. And coverage ends when the premium payments are no longer met. So when you want that policy to end, you'll either call and cancel it, or you'll just simply stop paying the premium, which we never suggest. But that is one way to get it done. So it's very much like a term policy because it's less expensive, but it wants to pretend that it's a whole life because it will last as long as you continue to pay the payments. Now let's move over to variable. So there's just one more step up the ladder. We get to variable. This is also a universal policy, but it can build cash value that can be invested in a portfolio to increase the cash available in the policy. So a variable universal life product is for somebody that kind of wants a hybrid. They just don't want a straight term. They want some advantages. They want to play the market a little bit. We can do that on a variable product. Again, coverage ends when the premium payments are no longer met. That takes us all the way over to the right to whole life. This is a very traditional product. It's been around forever. It will accumulate a cash value inside the policy, and it will also grow a death benefit. So you can start off with $100,000, and each year that death benefit is going to grow inside that policy, and so is the cash value. This is a type of product that earns dividends that can be used in different ways. And what I mean by that is, I'm 50 right now. If I purchased a whole life policy and then at some time in the future, 70 years old, I decided that I really don't want to pay for this thing anymore, certain policies will allow me to take the dividends that I earn and pay off the premium that I would normally pay. So there is some options there. On a whole life policy, the coverage ends when the premium payments are no longer met or when the good Lord calls you home, one of the two. So, what type of life insurance is best for me and my family? To determine this, we simply need to have a conversation as the way that it works best. One example is if I have a family with 3 school-aged children, their need for life insurance is potentially going to be greater than a single individual that just graduated from college. Depending on their budget, I might lean towards term because it's inexpensive and I can get more of a death benefit. If I compare that to a family with no children, their primary concern with life insurance could be to pay off debt, could be to give charitable donations, and it depends on their risk tolerance on what type of life insurance that I would provide them. And example number 3 is in advanced clients with focus on wealth accumulation. If that were the case, we would look at a traditional whole life policy or a variable universal life policy, depending on which one met their needs. So it's not just one size fits all out there. It depends on what you want it to do and what you need it to do. So frequently asked questions, how much coverage do I need? This is a very individualized questions, and I don't believe there's a rule of thumb to use. You'll have some people out there that say, oh, well, you should have 7 times your income. Well, I, I won't say no, but I don't buy into that. I use the LIFE method, LIFE, which is a common sense driven 1-page piece of paper. And if you want, there's also 40-page fact-finding templates that we can use. I've just never really found someone that got enough out of that 40-page fact-finding method when the LIFE method works great. Give us a call. We can talk more about the LIFE method. Do I have to pay taxes on death benefits? This is a tax question, and I'm not a CPA. I encourage you to check with your tax advisor. My answer is it depends on who the owner of the life insurance is and how it's set up. If you are the owner of your life insurance policy, then there can be tax consequences. In my example, my trust is the owner of my life insurance policy, and my trust also happens to be the beneficiary of my life insurance policy, and that helps mitigate some of that tax problem. Does my spouse need the same amount of insurance as me? Not necessarily. The LIFE method that we talked about helps determine the amount of insurance for both members and considers if one spouse does not work outside the home. I have videos out there on how much life insurance do I need as well. Please take a look at that. One of the things that I want to state is if you have a spouse that does not work outside of the house, do not underestimate what would need to happen if that spouse were to leave us in an accident or were to be called to heaven in an untimely event. You might need childcare. They might be the one that does the house cleaning, cooking, accounting, all of these things. So there's things to take into consideration that you might not think about. So more frequently asked questions. Do my children need life insurance? When you consider that the amount you pay for life insurance is based on the age and health of the person that's applying, the answer is yes. I highly encourage my clients to purchase whole life insurance policies on their kiddos when they are young. You will never get it cheaper, and the living benefits to the whole life insurance that the kids can use when they are adults is something that can't be found anywhere else. I kind of get excited about it. What if I like the benefits of whole life insurance, however, can't afford the premium at this time? That happens sometimes. We solve this problem by writing a term policy, which has what's called a conversion feature. This is a feature that allows you to convert portions or all of the term policy into a whole life policy later, and this is big, guys, without having to undergo new medical exams, and it can be a game changer. I typically don't write a term policy without a conversion feature in it, just in case it's needed for any reason in the future. So when you look at a term policy, which just provides a death benefit, and you look at a whole life policy, which has a whole lot more bells and whistles, it's not hard to understand why people would gravitate towards the whole life until we look at the budget. So what we want to do is, I wouldn't want to sell a family with 3 kids a whole life policy where they can only afford $10,000 worth of death benefit. I would rather sell them a term policy that I can afford them $300,000 or $500,000 worth of death benefit. All right, moving on to the next one. I only want one life insurance policy. Stop it. Don't do that. As volatile and as many changes as life throws our way, it's my opinion that one policy does not get the job done. As your needs change, so does your needs for life insurance. You don't want to cancel an old life insurance policy that you purchased at a younger age to replace it with a new policy at your current age because it's going to be more expensive. Just leave what you purchased previously in force, and you can write a new policy to cover the added exposure. Guys, if you have an insurance agent look at you and say, well, just cancel what you have already and replace it with this new stuff, you need to think long and hard or get a second opinion before you do that. So in closing, guys, life insurance is an essential part of your insurance protection. Do not put off the discussion. rip off that Band-Aid and say, hey, talk to me about life insurance. As long as you have a good agent, they're going to respect your budget, and at least you're going to have a policy in place to help your loved ones in the event something happens. The younger and healthier you are, the more options you're going to have. So think about that. Working with a broker representing more than one company is super important, as some companies are willing to cater to certain health conditions. I have some companies that cater to people with diabetes. I have some companies that cater to people that have that celebratory cigar every once in a while and things like that. Whatever you do, don't assume that you're not going to qualify. Let us help you with that. That's what we do. We have had lots of people that say, I'm probably not going to qualify for anything, and we're able to turn that conversation around and make it happen for them. Conversation doesn't have to be deep and dark. I can tell you that I slept better knowing my life insurance plan was in place. Live life having the confidence that your plan will support your family. So, guys, thank you so much for your trust, your friendship, and your business. Give us a call. Go out to our Facebook page. Go out to our YouTube channel. Check out the videos we've got out there. We're here to help. And that's the key. I have been successful in my life by surrounding my people that have knowledge in areas that I don't. And we want to be that for you. We want to be your insurance advisor. Guys, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for watching this video, and let us know if we can help. Thank you. Bye-bye.